In today's news, the BVI records 16 new cases, bringing the total to 63, and Minister Malone sets the record straight on 15 alleged cases.
Honorable Marlon Penn calls out government to address business concerns. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Welcome everyone to 284 News. Of course, it is Friday, September 4th, 2020. Joining you here from the British Virgin Islands, I am Kyla Kinisha Forbes.
And my name is Javon Wilson. So happy to welcome you once again to another great edition of 284 News. Now, Kyla, September 4th, 2020, just today, just this morning, as a matter of fact, the Minister of Health announcing that the BVI has 16 new cases recorded in addition to the previous cases, bringing our total to now 63 cases with 52 active cases of COVID-19. So, of course, a lot of persons were wondering what would become of the tests that we did recently. Here we see a lot of those tests confirming to be positive. But Kyla was really speaking to the possibilities and really the reality that is not just within the BVI, but across the world, where we see, yes, we're able to detect some cases, but some do go undetected within the community. Here we see some level of extensive testing and 16 persons being discovered.
Right.
We also have in Jamaica the elections, the Jamaican Labour Party, which of course is the ruling party, viewers, yesterday won a decisive victory in the general elections, retaining, get this, 49 of 63 seats. So this is the first time, Kyla, that the party has won consecutive elections in more than 50 years. So big news for Jamaica, especially as they continue to forge forward with the people's business in the midst of COVID-19. And then we also have Honorable Marlon Penn, our leader of the opposition, of course, challenging the government, Kyla, making very strong appeals for the government to consult with the business community. And, you know, as we know, it's been 5 long months, Kyla. Business has been interrupted on many regards in light of curfew restrictions as well as the border closures, and subsequently we had a lockdown. So a lot of interruptions as it relates to business. A lot of persons have been really crying out, and even within the bailout, the $6.5 million allotted, a lot of our business owners are yet to tap into any form of assistance. So here we see Honorable Marlon Penn really appealing to the government to have a conversation. Not only that, Kyla, we have been in conversation with BVICCHA, which is essentially the voice of the business community, and they too have similar concerns about not having a seat at the table as it relates to the task force, the economic task force that was put together by government to determine the economic the challenges that we have currently, and of course to make suggestions. So lots of concerns coming from the community at this point.
Most definitely, Javon. And as we summarize all that is going on in the world, if we look across in the USVI, they are upon their 16th death. Wow. But some good news coming out of the USVI, where yesterday they only recorded 1 new coronavirus case. And Javon, we will be diving into that a bit more, because we've been looking across the waters at the territory of the U.S. Virgin Islands, and although there are upwards of 16 deaths, we do have some good news coming out of that territory. So we're definitely going to dive into that. But before we even go a bit further, close to when, back in March, when the U.S. Was locking down, we saw where the U.S. unemployment rate fell sharply in August. But so in August, we see where that unemployment rate is actually doing a bit better as some firms began to hire back new staff once again and temporarily hiring for the U.S. Census Boost job numbers. So firms added about 1.4 million new jobs, and unemployment fortunately have fell below 10%. And you know, back when in lockdown, we reported where the U.S. saw a spike of 14.7% in unemployment rate. So we're seeing where that number is dropping, but of course there's a long way to go as we continue to fight the novel coronavirus, Javon.
Absolutely, Kyla, and great signs. I mean, small, some might look at it as insignificant, even as you spoke about the USVI. Yes, they have recorded a record number of cases, but we also have to look at their recoveries, which they've been doing substantially well in that area as well. So there are little bits of hope in there, one specifically being a vaccine. Just yesterday, we spoke about the United States rushing to get a vaccine in place. Just today, new discoveries from Russia. Finally, we might have something, viewers, something concrete really available to put this crisis behind us. And again, we have all the details later on in this newscast.
So, Javon, let's just jump right into it. By now, everyone may know that earlier today, Minister of Health and Social Development, Honorable Malone, he addressed the people of the Virgin Islands, at a COVID-19 update press conference. And Honorable Malone reported the territory's current epidemiology report. So let's take a look at that.
Since my last update on Tuesday, the 1st of September, the number of new cases detected has increased by 16. They are all related in some way to existing clusters. This overall number of confined cases in the BVI is therefore 63. There are now 10 persons reported as recovered from COVID-19 and 1 death.
So, Javon, as we were awaiting more numbers since earlier this week when Honorable Malone addressed the people, earlier this week we were at 47. Now we see where the BVI have confirmed 16 new cases, bringing our total to 63 with 52 active. Javon, we see as our numbers begin to climb, continue to climb, that is, and really and truly there's a long way to go, I think, for the BVI, but our premier is saying a bit different. We're going to speak a little bit about in a little bit.
Absolutely, Kyla. When we look at the numbers, there is reason for us to, just have some concerns.
Yeah.
But we need not panic. The one good thing about our health sector is the fact that we have been in the mode of preparation even from the onset of coronavirus. One of the first things the government of the day decided to do is really to strengthen our medical capacity. It began with the government injecting over $12 million, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but millions of dollars into one, training medical professionals, two, retrofitting the hospitals so that we can have various isolation units for persons who may be suffering from severe symptoms of COVID-19. Of course, we've seen the 10, so we are I think in full capacity as it relates to how we're able to deal with what we have as of right now. In addition to that, we have also sought the expertise, of the Cuban professionals who are currently in the BVI. So while, the numbers may look significant at this time, we just want to remind the viewers to trust the relevant health authorities, that is the Ministry of Health and the relevant authorities under the Ministry of Health, allowing them and trusting them to do what they need to do. But
and
Kyla,
also, Javon, right now where we see the numbers, Honorable Malone also reported that 2 persons are hospitalized at this time. Of course, the situation is very fluid.
Yes.
So we do want to help our numbers to come down. But right now, with 2 persons hospitalized, we're hoping for the best for these persons. But right now, we're not seeing much hospitalization due to COVID-19, which is a good thing.
And, and that is the true reality of the virus. The reality is lots of persons will become infected, but most persons will recover and recover well, and I think we should put our trust in that. But Kylie, you know, one of the other concerns arising from the previous press conference hosted by the Minister of Health, Honorable Malone, he did announce then, that is just earlier this week, that the BVI might have an estimated, get this, 1,482 asymptomatic persons possibly spreading the virus. Again, a very significant number. Yeah. And as you can imagine, it truly sent the territory into a frenzy. The viewers, if you missed that clip, let's watch it.
We believe that we are seeing the tip of the iceberg, and there are more persons, more persons possibly infected in the population who are asymptomatic and can readily spread the disease, which means that we may have many undocumented cases of who are transmitting the virus. While we don't exactly know how much spread is caused by our asymptomatic group, current estimates place our undocumented cases at approximately 1,482 persons at a minimum. And let us not forget that while many persons may have mild disease, some may be severely affected and may require the usage of one of our merely 8 fully equipped ventilators. These to serve over 30,000 persons.
Now, Kyla, that was Honorable Malone, sorry.
Yes.
So many honorables to refer to within this
I'm
newscast.
telling you.
But Honorable Malone really speaking to the possibilities. That is not today's press conference. That was the press conference prior to that. Now, of course, outraged, many persons have since spoken out. One of them being Honorable Marlon Penn, leader of the opposition. And he is calling the minister's response as irresponsible. He said, and I quote, "I found it to be totally irresponsible for this administration to announce unsubstantiated information of almost 1,500 undocumented cases of COVID-19 in the public space, a comment that has endangered fear and induced panic in BVI residents. Additionally, the reported high numbers can create negative perceptions of our residents and the country as a whole, not only regionally, but on the international stage as well. These perceptions bring into question our ability to manage the virus and create an unavoidable stigma as it relates to the territory as a whole." End of quote. Viewers, former Minister of Education, Honorable Myron Walwyn, also voiced his concerns on social media. He said, and I quote, "Are we suggesting that the BVI is quite possibly the epicenter of the Eastern Caribbean for COVID-19? I spent the better part of an hour this evening trying to explain to someone that this was not the actual case. Needless to say, they continue to rely on what was said. The CDC just placed the BVI at level 3 on their travel matrix for non-essential travel locations. I don't agree with their assessment method, by the way. And coupled with this statement, the road to recovery for our tourism industry was made more difficult." End of quote. And indeed, Kyla, as it relates to the numbers put out by Honorable Malone initially and earlier this week, that 1,500 possible cases, these numbers brought a lot of questions into play and certainly caused heightened levels of anxiety within our community. So to bring some calm to the situation, viewers, today, Honorable Malone explained in deep details the basis for his initial report. Let's watch.
Let me humbly address and correct from the onset this misleading notion that there are some 1,500 BVI residents presently infected with COVID-19. This arose from my previous remarks. This figure represented a scientific projection of what could have happened over a period of time if we had not acted swiftly to quell the outbreak. Once again, scientific modeling showed that if we did not act quickly and decisively to suppress the current outbreak, the virus could have spread among many other persons in our community. But we did otherwise. The curfew order, together with extensive testing and isolation, contact tracing and quarantine, community education, and law enforcement measures are all part of an aggressive strategy to keep the number of persons exposed to the virus to a minimum. Case findings through laboratory tests.
So, Kyla, here we see the Honorable Minister clarifying that these numbers, the proposed numbers 1,500 and under, would have been if the health authorities did not take the requisite steps to ensure that we
Right.
curb the spread of COVID-19, and not necessarily that this is the situation on the ground as we stand. And I think that's where the misunderstanding came. I'm really, really happy that the minister was able to come forward because, again, there was a heightened level of anxiety even before this revelation coming with the onset of the coronavirus within the world. But recently we saw that hysteria going to a completely different level. And I don't think it was intentional, you know,
Right.
it was not intentional, but I think this serves as a great example of the fact that we need to be a bit more responsible with the information, because one of the things we may be underestimating at this time, Kyla, is the mental impact, you know, the mental impact that this pandemic is having on individuals all across the world and including us here in the BVI. But I want to remind us, Kyla, that as much as this was a mistake, it should not take away from the facts. And the
Right.
fact remains that every country, including the BVI, has many, many cases that have gone undetected, because persons are asymptomatic, and that is the true reality of the virus. So we really have to be cautious in our way of going about things.
Most definitely. Javon, now, especially now after the clarification, we definitely understand what the Minister of Health was trying to say.
Yes.
As you said, many cases may be out there undetected, but as you said, and we continue to reiterate, we must be responsible with the information that we are giving the public. As we know, these COVID-19 updates, people hold their breath even before hearing what the government of the Virgin Islands have to
It's true.
say.
It's a true reality.
Yeah, as it pertains to COVID-19 in the territory. So even hearing the number 1,500 maybe undetected cases in the territory is very frightening. So we're really happy that that was able to be clarified just going forward. But Javon, we see where our premier is quite hopeful where we will be probably in the next month. In a recent interview on The Big Story, the premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Andrew Foy, did admit that he expected to see a number of new COVID-19 cases in the territory as the BVI health authorities have been conducting vigorous contact tracing. Now, of course, we heard and we've been dissecting the fact that the BVI now has new cases, true contact tracing, and he basically confirmed that these cases were basically contacts of previously confirmed clusters. So we're tracing and we're seeing where these cases are coming from. It's not unknown, and that is actually somewhat of a good thing. So we
Absolutely.
see where the local health authorities' contact tracing efforts have been somewhat successful in identifying these new cases in the territory. And of course, frightening, Javon. But Premier Foy said it in his interview, and I quote, "It's better to do this hard contact tracing now and get to know what it is that we are dealing with, and then we will be in a better position." End quote. And Javon, I must agree with our Premier, although we are seeing a spike in cases, and that can be quite frightening. Of course, hearing about 16 new cases, of course, anyone may be holding their chest during this time, but it is better to identify them than for persons to be walking about our community unaware of their condition. So let's just take this as a small win while we can. And he further said, and I quote, "Once we get those, we get the primary contact of those, we feel that we would be able to contain it then." But of course, Joe, the containment of this virus cannot be accomplished through contact tracing alone. The Premier is calling on all residents to adhere to the various COVID-19 protocols so the number of cases can decrease by mid or the end of October. He said once again, and I quote, "When I talk about mid-October to the end of October, that is the area that I am talking about, that will see us into the light at looking at some of the other phases. By then, we should have this problem under handle, but we have to do a lot ourselves to help us reach that deadline that we are talking about." End quote. So, Javon, we see where the premier is hopeful that by around the end of October, we could contain the virus, but he's definitely pleading with the people of the BVI because the BVI health authorities can only do so much. So, our curfews and our protocols that are in place, he's definitely asking persons to please abide by them.
Absolutely, Colin. I think the Premier couldn't have said it any better. The responsibility, yes, is with the health authorities, but we have to remember our roles. Within that responsibility, we have to manage and police ourselves accordingly. It matters not if some of us are complying with the rules. Once all of us are not complying with those rules, Kyla, we can easily retard our success in response to COVID-19. So we have to do what we need to do. This time is calling for all of us to come together, and that is exactly what we need to do.
Most
Viewers,
definitely.
still ahead, BVIlanders are now being encouraged to apply for the Chevening Scholarship. And like we mentioned earlier in the newscast, the USVI saw a decrease in COVID-19 cases. We have all the details when we return.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, Sonny.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, great news for the people of the BVI. The Office of the Governor is now inviting Virgin Islanders interested in postgraduate study in the United Kingdom to apply for the Chevening Scholarship Award from September 3rd to November 3rd, which means those applications opened yesterday, viewers. Now, this prestigious scholarship awarded by the UK government offers full financial support for future leaders from across the world to study for a master's degree at any university in the UK. Now, alongside their education, Chevening scholars gain access to exclusive academic, professional, and cultural experiences, as well as a 50,000-strong alumni network that includes professionals and politicians from across the world. His Excellency the Governor Augustus Jaspert said, and I quote, "We all know that education unlocks doors, and Chevening provides access to a world-class education at no cost, as well as entry into an influential and global alumni network. We have so much talent and ambition here in the BVI, and it would be fantastic to see our bright stars shine in the next Chevening cohort." End of quote. Now, viewers, the Minister for Education, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Whitley said, and I quote, "I will always be an advocate for building better humans, and this scholarship provides the perfect opportunity to bettering yourself. As a past scholar in the United Kingdom, I know that the education provided is top tier, and I encourage all those who are eligible to apply. You lose nothing by improving your skill set, especially with a fully funded scholarship." End of quote. Now, the head of scholarships at the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, the FCDO, Ms. Naomi Rayner said, and I quote, "This year, more than ever, We have seen how global challenges demand innovation, strong leadership, and international collaboration. Chevening seeks to build an international community of people who are committed to those rules and to driving positive change. We do this by bringing together incredible people from around the world and supporting them through education to achieve their goals. End of quote. Now, viewers, on August 28, Governor Jasper as well as Honorable Whitley held a virtual farewell to congratulate this academic year's Chevening Scholar, Ms. McKay Andrew. As we can all recall, the governor spoke to the importance of creating international networks that can benefit the territory for years to come, while the Minister for Education reflected on his own experience of studying in the UK and this new opportunity and the experiences it brought. Ms. Andrew has since departed the British Virgin Islands to enroll in the City University of London, where she will study for a master's in law. Prior to this, Ms. Andrew worked for BVI's Financial Services Commission and completed both her undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications in law. Kyla, superb opportunity for Virgin Islanders. I know this is an excellent opportunity really afforded by the United Kingdom through, of course, our Governor Jasper,
Right.
to the residents of the British Virgin Islands. And this is a scholarship offered worldwide. Just yesterday, last evening actually, I came across on my Facebook timeline a 68-year-old from Africa. She was awarded the scholarship and so
Wow.
thrilled to pursue her master's degree, and really speaking to the fact that it's never too late to learn. So
No.
really happy for this opportunity and really trusting that Virgin Islanders can take advantage of it.
Javon, as you said, and they continue to say, this is a great opportunity. And really and truly, what do you have to lose when it comes to education? And for BVI lenders, if eligible, definitely go out there and get this scholarship. Many persons who have received this scholarship before speaks about just the great opportunity
Yes.
that it brings. And also, if persons have any reservations about the UK education, as Honorable Natalia Wheatley spoke to it, I can also speak to the education over in the United Kingdom. So definitely, persons should definitely go out there and do not miss that deadline. But Javon, before we wrap up, now over in the U.S. Virgin Islands, the VI Department of Health reported on Wednesday, which was yesterday, which was 2 days ago actually,
Yes.
one case of the novel coronavirus in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Now, this is a further indication that the lockdown measures implemented are working. And according to the department's latest data, which was between Tuesday and Wednesday, 295 persons were tested. And out of that 295 persons, one case was reported on St. Thomas. Now, Javon, we have been watching the USVI very closely, and for months we saw where over in the territory cases rise by the 40s, the 50s, and it was really getting up there. So we're definitely happy for our neighbors over in the USVI to see that one case just being reported. Now, to date, the territory have reported 1,150 cases of COVID-19. But get this, 1,010 persons have recovered from the virus thus far, while 119 is now active, and 16 persons to date have died from the virus. Now, we saw where Governor Albert Bryan has extended his stay-at-home order to September 8th, which will expire on Monday. And this order calls for the closure of non-essential businesses, beaches on the weekends from 12 noon, and the halting of most lodging reservations in the USVI. But Javon, I found this very interesting because I think the BVI is now seeing where the USVI was just a few months ago, and we see where their stay-at-home order have worked and have shown to be successful. So maybe, you know, if we do comply with our stay-at-home order, there may be some hope in the near future for the BVI.
Absolutely, and I believe that, Kyla. Trust me, I think everyone is hoping for that. But additionally, we know for sure if the USVI is to recover quickly, travel can become a reality once again,
Yes.
or sooner than later in the BVI. Viewers, we're out of time, but thank you so much for joining us. My name is Javon Wilson.
And I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes. Have a happy Friday, everyone. Bye-bye.